Good evening, folks. Steve Walls here alongside Darren Smith at Highmark Stadium in Western New York, Buffalo, New York, however you want to look at it. It's New York.
I think it's Orchard Park.
It says Western New York up there inside of Highmark, or near Orchard Park. So the Chiefs fall to the Buffalo Bills today. Darren, I want to get your thoughts, your initial thoughts on this game because
– my initial thoughts.
Yeah, your initial thoughts because here's the deal. We were both in the tunnel after the game.
Oh, yes, we were.
And the Buffalo Bills came off the field talking that cash.
The interesting thing was you would have thought that they won the Super Bowl tonight. I mean, the way the fans were, people, I mean, literally right before we went live, the field was filled with people. They kind of blew the horn to get them off the field. But, we had an old lady in a wheelchair talking about who won the game tonight. I said, well, congratulations on your Super Bowl win. I said, I don't know if you're going to get a ring tonight for this win, but that's the type of stuff that was going on this evening after the game, after they, of course, came away with a 9-point victory. Yeah.
Now, let's talk Buffalo offense. What did you see from Josh Allen tonight?
I really didn't see anything special on their end offensively. It was more so, if I can say, what the Chiefs wasn't doing on offense, that put the defense in bad situations to where, I don't want to say it was a bend but don't break, but the thing is, you saw if Josh Allen had a turnover, how he would come back and continue to not only end up, with the score, but more importantly, he was continuing drives. And really coming out the half, Kansas City had Buffalo on a 3-and-out. They got the ball, and for whatever reason, they were moving the ball down the field. It was 1st and 10. Kareem Hunt ran for 2 yards. For whatever reason, instead of trying to run to get the 2 yards or 3 yards, whatever, extend the drive. Yeah. Patrick drops back and throws a 1-yard pass to Travis Kelce. Yeah. Then it's 3rd and 1, and you go no gain, and then you just punt the ball. I mean, well, no, you don't punt the ball. You get a delay of game to move back 5 yards just to punt the ball. That type of play calling there was no. My thing was you're trailing. And the second half, they trailed the entire way. So I don't know what they gained from it or what they were doing. Yeah. But it didn't make any sense whatsoever. So for me, there's a lot of finger pointing to be blamed, and I guess I'll do that in a little bit.
Here's the thing. Andy Reid talked about that post game. He was asked about number of runs, Kareem Hunt, close calls on 3rd down, 4th down. What he said, I should have run the ball more. That's what he said. Hindsight 2020. Patrick Mahomes, talk about him for a second. He said post game, they're going to use this as a spark. I asked Patrick, if this is similar to, the Raiders lost on Christmas Day last year, and he said, he hopes that it is because they ended the way that they did at the end of the season, the way that they did. But he kept saying that they're going to use this as a spark. He said he doesn't know if the team got relaxed, and there were some more questions flying about, was it a huge, not burden on their shoulders, but it wasn't something the undefeated thing. That was a lot of weight on their shoulders that they were carrying around.
That's what he admitted or something?
No. He was just asked that question.
And what was his response?
His response was just no. They just take it game by game. They weren't worried about, going undefeated.
See, my biggest concern when he talks like that is that, yes, you want to use it as a spark, but the problem is that we've asked you week in and week out, especially when you have multiple interception games, whatever, you keep saying you're going to get better, you got to get better. We talk about the tackles this week and last week, and it's like it's the same thing over and over and over again, and it's like, Groundhog Day. And look, and it's not to come off as Debbie Downer, but you get tired, it's for me, I get tired of asking the same questions because it's like the same thing is happening. And now it shows up in a loss where, again, you didn't have to lose. I mean, you had the first drive, your first pass, you get it intercepted. So, I don't know if anybody asked him what he saw. And that because, of course, I'm in the locker room getting interviews. So there were things that he continues to do week in and week out, and nothing is changing. And, when you say, you got to improve, you got to get better. Yes, saying it is one thing, but doing it is another. Granted, I know you got 3 touchdown passes, but again, you were always trailing each time. When you got, I guess one time they might have been up 14.
And my rebuttal to that is, I feel like he's saving face for this offensive line. I really do because a lot of those
I don't
throws.
disagree with that, but I also feel like you're saving face for Matt Nagy. Look, we've talked over the last week or so. We have talked over the last week or so.
That's the win. That's just the win.
That's the win.
This
so
Western
we're gonna
New
do it
York,
like this. We're gonna do
Western New
it.
York
Steve,
win.
you stay there. So no, we're gonna do it like this. So when when you're talking about there we go. So when you're talking about those type of things, Steve, it's a matter of, for me. I'm tired of hearing it. I need to see you do it because, yes, you took a loss in tonight's game. But who's to say that, the same thing happened tonight? If you don't clean it up, it won't happen in the playoffs. It won't happen when you face another team like Pittsburgh or a game that you should win.
Yeah.
When you look at Charlotte, you look at the Raiders, you look at Cleveland that you have coming up.
Yeah, I just feel like he's rushed. He's uncomfortable. When you have a quarterback that knows the pressure's coming, he's rushed. And there was a question. Sarah73 said, "So what are you saying? You don't want him to be your quarterback anymore?" I don't understand you, commentator. No, we're not saying that. We're just sometimes look. And Sarah, I don't want you. And I was going to say this before you even put your comment on here. This team is still 9-1.
Yeah, look.
Right. This team is This team is still 9-1.
Destiny.
Yeah, they're. I think they're fine. But sometimes you just got to hit a reset button. Sometimes I feel like we've seen better from the starting quarterback.
Look, let me explain something to Sarah. And again, I said it in the press conference this week. And this is why I've always been consistent. I don't accept anything in a win that I would in a loss. Patrick has not been playing well in the 9 wins, and it showed in the loss tonight. So I'm not saying anything different in tonight's loss that I haven't said in the wins that they've gotten. Mm-hmm. Because again, if you don't improve, if you don't make those changes, it's going to come up at the most inopportune time.
And I don't. But if I could give a percentage on how much of it is Patrick, I would say 30% Patrick.
Oh yeah.
70%, offensive line. I really would. I really would.
I would say 50% offensive line, 30% Patrick, 20% coaching.
Okay. Because they have somebody in on that.
Because again, you either allowing it or you're coaching it. Mm-hmm. We saw literally on a couple of drives that were stalled when Patrick was moving the ball down. It was 2nd and 4. And what happened? They ran a play, and it was a holding call on Wanye. Backed it up, made it 2nd and 14. That started the drive.
Yeah.
The last drive, Jawan Taylor had a holding call. When Patrick ran for a first down. So again, you either allowing it or you coaching it. So again, I don't mind calling it out because I'm consistent with it. I do it when they win. I do it when they lose.
Yeah. She said, so what is your solution or your recommendation? I'm confused. Here's my solution to that.
So to answer your question, we've talked about it. One, you need to bring in a veteran. Go back out. He's available. He played for you. He started the Super Bowl for you. Bring in Donovan Smith. We keep, Andy keeps talking about, the youth movement when it comes to the tackles with Wanye and Keek. The Kings, of course, didn't play tonight. But if Wanye is getting their work,
I heard Donovan Smith had hip surgery.
Well, I mentioned that. No, that was in the offseason. I don't know where he's at. But there are other veterans. I know there was a gentleman from Green Bay that saying that's available. So there are players out there that could come in and start right away.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're looking at that, and then again we talk about coaching. Week in, week out, we keep hearing Andy say that they've been coached up, but week in and week out, we keep saying the same penalty, the same holding. Those type of stuff that keeps killing the Chiefs' momentum on the drives. So again, you can accept it if you want, which is cool, but you got to get what you get. And again, they're 9-1. Obviously, there is no war with me. But again, I don't accept being in a win that I wouldn't have lost because talking to the players, if they said they'll go back and look at the stuff on film this week and try to improve on it as you go to Charlotte. Oh, we'll get a chance to see week to week. It's a week to week league. Get a chance to see what type of improvements that they make. But we can also see, where there have not been improvements because we keep seeing the same penalties on the same players week in and week out.
Yeah. All right. Teron Young, he said he just jumped on. Can y'all give your opinion on pass play? I would like to hear from you too. I see
you
no
might think you're
vision,
lying, but
no bad decisions, and we're making others' jobs easier. Worthy ball. And I asked Patrick about. I asked Coach Reed about Xavier Worthy. Is it more of a repetition thing, or is it
got to get him in early, as you talked about before.
is he just not getting his feet down? Like what is it? Why is he? He's had a couple of close calls and stepped out of bounds. And I asked Patrick the same thing, and Coach Reed said, he has to go back and look at this one. He said the other ones, it's just the timing, and he has to get better. So he said he has to go back and look at this one. Patrick said it's on him. He needs to be able to get the ball to him sooner because he's waiting on the ball. He said that was an easy walk-in touchdown, and that would have given them the lead.
But again, he said they're weak. He's got to do this, got to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
like, you got the entire week of the game. You got stuff that you can work on. Stay after practice, stuff like that. Now look, we expect a lot because we know we see what they do. We see the practices. We you know what I mean. So we've been around it so long that our expectations might be different from fans because we know what they can do and we see it. And it's like sometimes when it don't translate to the field, we're like, what's going on? Obviously, the other team gets paid.
Yeah.
To defend you, but literally to a man, I asked everyone in the locker room, the people that I talked to, was there anything that they saw on film that they might have differently in tonight's game that gave them problems? Everyone to a man said there was nothing that Buffalo did tonight that they were surprised by. It was just on their end, execution. Nick Bowden talked about the missed tackles and stuff that he had. I think he said he gave up a touchdown into the end. So it was more so on the execution stuff that they didn't do, the Chiefs didn't do, that they felt like caused them to lose the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the defense, man. The Chiefs fall to the Buffalo Bills right here in Orchard Park, Highmark Stadium, Western New York, Buffalo, New York, however you want to say it, it's
East
New York.
Coast.
Yeah. Darren, and I want to ask you guys that are watching on our social media live feed, what do you want to see? Where does the team go from here? At the end of the day, how much of a, how bad is this loss?
Oh,
Does it matter?
No. The loss isn't bad at all. Again, it alleviates the talk about the whole undefeated stuff. Yeah. Again, Buffalo celebrated their Super Bowl tonight, so shout out to them, congrats to them. But as I talk to all the players like them, and they know they control their own destiny. As long as they continue to win, they still control the number one seed.
Yeah.
So as long as they do their job, then everything still runs through Arrowhead.
Damian Caldwell said, "Why do you think we go away from the run when it's working?"
Man, my name ain't Matt Nagy. Look, Steve would tell you because I'm in the press box like run the football. I mean, again, I said earlier, coming out the half when the Chiefs defense 3 and out, they get the ball. Kansas City's marching down this way on the field. Kareem gets the ball 1st and 10. He gets 8 yards. And for whatever reason, the play calling is to pass the football.
Yep.
Now, if you're going to pass it, you at least pass it 2 yards or more and not 1 yard. Then it's 3rd and 1, and you don't get, it doesn't, I guess, no gain. So now it's 4th and 1. Now, he's been able to get you first downs, and you went for it on 4th down earlier a few times in the ball game. And then this one time you don't go and attempt it, and you're on their side of the field. Yeah. I don't get it, but Andy said that they'll go back and look at it again. They say it. Whether or not they do something about it next week in Charlotte is a whole nother matter.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's one loss on the season. Mm-hmm. It's better to get it now. And most of the guys that we talked to, even a couple of security guys after the game, said they'd rather have this loss now than in the playoffs.
And look, and we've seen it every year. Buffalo wins the game in the regular season.
Yeah.
When it matters most, they find a way to, piss the bed. Let me get your thoughts, though. I mean, if you had to grade the performance, the offense, defense, special teams, I'm just going to say, I guess in relation to Harrison Butker's absence, the kicker that he brought in was perfect. He was good. But just give me your thoughts on offense and defense tonight, your grade or whatever.
I think the offense. I gave him the same grade last week. I gave him a D last week. I feel like they were able to move the ball when they wanted to. And it's funny because it seems like when they need to go down and get a score, they can do it.
Yeah,
Just in general, like just driving the ball down the field, you still.
and we saw that in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Mark's like, bro, what are you doing the rest of the time?
it's kind of head scratching. I think DeAndre Hopkins is coming on a lot more. Right, I think he and Patrick are building a lot more chemistry. I think they've understood that they need to get Xavier Worthy the ball, kind of similar to what they did with Tyreek Hill when he was here. Just other ways for him to touch the ball early.
But let me ask you this: what was the issue with them not getting Kelsey the football tonight?
I don't know. I think on the script, right, the first 16 plays, I feel like it was more going to Xavier Worthy, getting him some. They saw something on film where I really feel like they saw where he was going to be able to beat the defender, right? Deep ball. They worked on that.
I think he did a good job tonight.
I asked Coach Reed earlier this week, hey, what's going on with Xavier? Is it something whereas he's mentally just out of it? Is it something where he's frustrated because he's had a couple games where he's had 0 catches?
Yeah.
As a rookie, I think. When you start the season, like he did as one of the go-to guys on this offense, and then you come up and have nothing after they add DeAndre Hopkins, add Kareem Hunt. He's going to be a little frustrated. You could see it, in the locker room as we were talking to him. So I think today was more or less just getting him going. But I feel like you still got to go to your go-to man on third down. He did that. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. My other thing was at the end of the game when you have 2 minutes 30 seconds left, you shouldn't be throwing the ball to Samaje Perine. You've got to get it to
for 2 yards.
You've got to get it to your playmakers. You've got to.
But you got to push the ball down the field. I mean, look, they were down by 9, and like you said, you're in the 3 minutes. You got the ball back, and you only push the ball 2 yards. I mean, that's not gonna help anybody.
Yeah, I think the defense. I've said this. The absence of L'Jarius Sneed, you can really see that. You can see the here more recently the injury to Jalen Watson.
Yeah, there was some work getting done tonight on that.
Now you can see Najee Johnson had some issues tonight. Trent McDuffie last week. So it's kind of when you don't get after the quarterback, you don't get after Josh Allen. You're leaving your guys out there on that island, and the quick hitters from Josh Allen. I think that was a problem tonight as well.
One of the biggest differences that I'm seeing, especially or problems that I'm seeing with Spanish defense, that when they have those wide receivers and tight ends that are crossing the field, that's giving them fits because they're so worried about getting beat deep that they're
those quick hitters.
Yeah, those quick, and they give them so much space that once they catch it, they're able to turn up and get additional yards. Yards after catch. And that's something that he's got to they've got to figure it out because they can get taken each and every week on that.
All right, guys, we appreciate you all your commentary on our social media feeds, whether you watch us on X, whether you watch us on Facebook Live, or YouTube Live. We really appreciate you. Remember, catch myself, also Darren Smith, Sean Tyler, and DJ Q tomorrow night. We'll be at Elevation Grill in Raytown. Come hang out with us. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about this Chiefs loss. We're going to have a couple of guests. Come out, hang out with us. Starts at 6:30. 6:30 to 7:30. Doors open at 6. Great food, great conversation. Grab a drink. Bring your family. It's a family environment. Come on out, hang out with us. It's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah, and of course, follow us on social media at Darren Smith NFL, at Steve Walls KC, and follow us. Make sure you tune in next week in the Kansas City or mid Central Time Zone, 11 a.m. East Coast, 12 noon. For the Chiefs pregame cheat sheet that we do. Of course, pregame show that we do each and every week will be in Charlotte, North Carolina at, I think it's Bank of America Stadium.
They still call it that?
They probably do. They pay a lot of money for it, so they probably do. So we'll be there in Charlotte next week where the Chiefs look to bounce back, of course, to their winning ways as they head into Thanksgiving, where they have a Black Friday matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders at Arrowhead.
All right. Until tomorrow, remember, come out, hang out with us tomorrow, 6:30 to 7:30. It's free. Come out, grab something to eat, grab some drinks, watch Monday Night Football, watch us. Let's talk about this game a little bit more in depth. In depth. That's right. Myself, you, Sean Tyler, DJ Q. We're out.